I began peer support, my journey with peer support with a local mental health group called Silver Linings. So I used to be a teacher. I taught for 8 years, and then I started to struggle with my mental health. I had anxiety, I had depression, and I had to give up teaching in the end because I started having panic attacks, and I had quite a decline in my mental health. Also became quite agoraphobic, so sort of struggled to get out of the house without panicking, and just quite intense feelings, which wasn't great. But I was just scrolling through a Facebook hub one day, and I saw an advert for Silver Linings, which was a depression and anxiety support group. So it took me about 4 or 5 weeks of thinking about it to sort of, you know, get the motivation to actually physically go. And I'm glad I did. So I went there, and don't think I spoke in the first 3 sessions because I was so overwhelmed with my anxiety, and part of my agoraphobia was I was just panicked about not being in my comfort zone, and to be honest. And through that group then we met Wendy, and Wendy came to us to do some training with us, and then I sort of got dropped in at the deep end, shall we say, and was asked to do a PowerPoint presentation at one of the networking events. And this was sort of the sort of light bulb moment for me, the sort of reawakened then the teacher within me, because I thought this person was lost through mental illness. I just thought that this wasn't the person I could be anymore. And then actually standing there doing the presentation, I remember saying to everybody, if I start to panic or freak out or stutter, or it's because I'm struggling with my anxiety. But actually I smashed it out the park, I really did. And I spoke really eloquently, and I spoke really well. And it was like that moment, I just felt like I was like the old person that I was, that through speaking about something that I knew so well, that had helped me, that through the peer support group that I was in, it sort of gave me the confidence to sort of just explain about how we help people. And then me standing there actually doing it, I was like, I've still got it, you know? It's almost like Wendy gave me that gift back of realizing that I still had a worthwhile skill set, that professional person was still there, even though it was like I felt it was lost under the shadow of my mental illness. And yeah, from there I sort of started doing some volunteering with Wendy, and just sort of like not really doing that much, but sort of just writing notes and things on the whiteboard when we were in training and things like that. And yeah, it just became part of doing the training, gave me purpose. That, you know, that sense of purpose, that I was contributing to something, that I had a skill set that I could use, that I, you know, that was the main thing for me. It was that feeling of purpose and overcoming my own barriers, which really helped. I think because I've been like, I'm sort of like the person who's got like fingers in a lot of pies, because I'm in like 5 different sport groups. So through networking with Wendy, I met Share, which is a self-harm group, and I've been going to that group as well. And then through Silver Linings, I met this person called Vic, who then I started doing a painting class with. And like, painting for me is an absolute game changer with my anxiety. It's sort of, it's just giving me a focus. So when my anxiety is that bad that I feel like I just can't do anything, I paint. And it was in that group then that I met like-minded people, and we didn't really speak about our mental health or anything like that, but it's just sort of like, just under the surface, you have these little conversations with people and realize that, you know, you're not the only person struggling, that actually people who attend a lot of these groups in the day obviously aren't working, and you know, they're in a similar predicament to me, because I met quite a few young people that have had problems with their mental health, and through chatting to each other, they're like, oh, so what do you do for a living then? And you're like, you know, kind of not working at the moment, but the reason is because of my mental health. But then you have that initial interest of painting and that skill set, and then those conversations sort of come naturally. So side by side in particular has been great with funding. So we've had funding for our craft class, which our painting class actually, which has given us £250, which we've spent on paint, which helps keeps the costs down for the guys running it, and it gives them a bit of security as well, that, you know, cuts are happening, people are losing these groups that are so vital to our communities, and, you know, having a little bit of funding is actually what's keeping these groups going, that are having the resources, that are having the paint, the things that are vital for these groups, you know, that can keep a course running. If they didn't have, you know, if they didn't have those funds, they could, you know, go under. I would say as well about the peer support group that I'm just starting actually at Dunharrow Drop-in Centre. We're starting a mental health group there, and Wendy's training was fantastic, particularly about the contracts that you start with. So we use the side-by-side training to actually get like an initial set of rules, which will hopefully then help us, you know, set boundaries and reinforce things then for later. If we have any issues, for example, with behaviour or things, you say, this is our ground rules, this is what's been set, you know, this is our expectations of behaviour and things like that. So I thought that was an integral part of the training.